Hello and welcome to this week's weekly wind-up on KLTV. I'm Dave Hodgson. Now, the vast majority of us, I suspect, have much respect for the British Army. For evidence, just look at the number of people who turned out for remembrance services and the crowds that gather on open days. But the Army has come in for quite a bit of adverse criticism recently from some quarters, and we find soldiers being tried in civilian courts for alleged war crimes while carrying out their duty. To discuss this and other issues, I'm pleased to welcome into the studio and onto the programme Bob Mortimer. Bob, I think it would be best for you to tell us your involvement, because it's quite a long list, isn't it?
Yes, my involvements are I'm the county president for the British Legion, and obviously I'm on the Veterans Advisory and Pensions Committee for Yorkshire and the Humber, and in addition to that I'm a councillor on the Mental Health Trust. And the Mental Health Trust at the moment is very important because 1 in 7 have come back from Iraq and Afghanistan and the Falkland Islands have got post-traumatic stress.
Now, delving into the history first of all, we had this magnificent ceremonies all over the country in remembrance of the Battle of the Somme. This year we've got the 100th anniversary of the Battle of Passchendaele. Is it possible people may start suffering from, shall I say, remembrance fatigue?
I don't think there's any doubt about that at all, because quite a few from this Huddersfield and Kirklees area were in Passchendaele and they fought there. And I mean, the people that were killed there were absolutely tremendous. The French, ourselves, the English, and of course the Germans was massive. And gas was used there for one of the first occasions by the Germans. And 1 or 2 of them came back and they got problems. They weren't killed there, and but the gas really infected them.
Never really recovered from it, did they?
No. They came home, had to sit at home and didn't do any jobs and things, yeah.
And even a certain Lance Corporal Hitler had blind problems, didn't he?
Well, yes, Hitler was on all sorts of problems because he obviously was taking pills and everything because he was in trouble.
Yeah, but it would appear that there's controversy at the moment as our soldiers from many recent conflicts are, as it were, charged and convicted and imprisoned for what are called war crimes. What are your views on that?
I think this is absolutely ridiculous. You've only to look at Ireland. I mean, over in Ireland, they'd have been killed or they had to shoot people. And the fact is, it was terrible over there in Ireland. But what's happened is, a lot of the solicitors and that, they're trying to make money out of it, because if they take a case on, they get paid for doing it, and it is absolutely disgusting.
The problem for armed forces doesn't actually stop there, does it? To you and me, it's the government, but many people won't know what on earth that is. Would you like to care to explain for us?
Every local authority in the country has signed up to the Armed Forces Covenant. Anybody who is ex-service and they've got post-traumatic stress or stress, of which probably 1 in 7 who's been in have, and those who came back from the Falkland Islands, there's more killed themselves now since they came back than were actually killed over there.
Terrible.
But the Armed Forces Covenant, anybody who is ex-service, they have a priority if they're injured or anything, or the family's broken up, because 50% of marriages have broken up since they come back. Grandkids have been living with their grandparents, and they have priority in health, housing, education and jobs. And those things, they've got priority over anybody else in the community. And all the local authorities have signed up to this. And in Kirklees at the moment, there's only 2 schools which don't have a child on a one-to-one because they've got stress. And this is having to be provided. And the GPs have been told that get the finger out, pills and medicine, and come back in 2 weeks is not good enough. They're going to put a pathway to recovery. And I am a counsellor on the Mental Health Trust and very much involved in this. A field head at Wakefield, we have the office and the centre, and we've got loads of ex-service and youngsters there at Field Aid, and we put them into certain wards in other hospitals where they specialise in this. But there are loads who've not been put forward yet. That's
And
disgusting.
again, another problem that we haven't actually mentioned is retraining. I mean, if you've been in the armed forces for quite a while and you were not in REME or that Royal Electrical and Mechanical Engineers or anything like that, then you're at a disadvantage because everything's getting computerised, and there must be some form of retraining. Otherwise, it's not just a double whammy, it's a sort of quadruple whammy, isn't it? You're hit from 4 sides all at once.
Well, that is one of the 4 things in the Covenant, and that is jobs. And the job centre in Huddersfield, and obviously Sheffield, Barnsley, Leeds, all these different areas on my patch, then they have been trained by the British Legion caseworkers how to go about this. The Citizens Advice Bureau have got all the documentary, how to point ex-service people in the right directions for this.
We've talked there about the answer to some of the problems, but what worries me is the increasing attempt at suicides and successful suicides.
The attempt at suicides, this was first noticed after the Falkland Islands, because more have committed suicide since they came back from the Falkland Islands and were killed there, because it was absolutely atrocious fighting over there. And it's the first time in a world war that this has happened, because they were at a loss to start with. In fact, we won in the end, but nevertheless, when they came back here, they had problems.
Yeah, we won the war and lost the peace.
We won the war and lost it, yeah.
Yeah.
More committed suicide than were killed there. And this is still happening, because the mental post-traumatic stress at the moment from Afghanistan and Iraq, and even before that, they didn't know about that, didn't they, ex-service people, that they got post-traumatic stress. But now it's been recognised, and there are ways forward. They've got to go to the doctor, tell the doctor they're ex-service, and they have a priority then over anybody else.
And your organisation, I know, has been involved in that. You've got a strong connection with the Royal British Legion. Would you care to explain it yourself, because it would take me forever and a day?
Well, the Royal British Legion, at the moment, not just with the Poppy Appeal, but the donations from the different press people, businesses, funerals and everything, we're looking to take £100 million. We're giving £1.7 million every year, every week to ex-service and dependents, because the families have broken up. And this is very important, because without this there'd be more suicides, obviously.
Indeed.
Yeah, and at the moment, the other things that the British Legion do is we've got drop-in centres. The one in Leeds, we've got 3,000 gone in there last year, just over 3,000. And we have a telephone number on a card which is given out to everybody. And we give this card out, and there's a number to phone there, and that number to phone will point you in the right directions.
That's good. Now, caseworkers are very important, aren't they?
They've been on courses, they've been educated, and each branch has a caseworker, may have 2 caseworkers, and they do visits to people's homes where there are problems, or they're pensioners on their own, and obviously they do hospital visits as well.
Thank you very much. Well, I hope that's given you some food for thought. If you have any comment or have been affected in any way by what Bob and I have said, please contact us via the usual channels. My thanks to Bob Mortimer for being our guest today, and to the KLTV crew for doing a magnificent job in putting the programme together. But most of all, to you for watching this programme. Dave Hodgson signing off. Stay lucky.